Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going through the 9 on Heroic. This is going to be my series, just kind of going through the Heroic bosses and how I kind of done them so far in the first week of the raid. So for this fight, it starts off with 2 target, so it's really strong for destruction, so that's what I'm playing here. For conduit, I'm using Ashen Remains, Infernal Brand, and Soul Eater. You could use Duplicitous Havoc instead of Soul Eater or Infernal Brand if you like. We lusted on pull just to kill these faster, so if your group doesn't lust on pull, so maybe you'll get some more value out of the Havoc conduit. But fight's pretty straightforward. So we lusted on pull, so that's where I popped all my cooldowns. You get really insane cleave value here with Havoc, and you also get really strong just infernal value since you're generating shards since they're stacked on top of each other. This fight has a lot of mechanics, but they aren't too terrible to deal with. I think the first mechanic that'll be coming up here is kind of like the massacre lines. Yep, right here, so they're just gray, so it's basically just don't get hit by them. And I'm just popping my cooldowns here. There's a meteor, so you just stack up. And you can see the bosses are already at 30%, so they're dying like really quick. When you start getting sucked in like this, I assume on Mythic the suck in will be a lot stronger, but on Heroic it's barely noticeable, but you just have to run away from the suck in when you get sucked in like that, so you don't get sucked into the AoE. And when you get pushed away like this, then you're running into the boss. So I'm just keeping Immolate on both my targets. Just generating as much shards as possible. And for talents here, I'm running all like the basic talents of Backdraft, Reverse Entropy, Dark Soul Misery, Cataclysm. Here I'm just getting a debuff, so reading what it does, because since this is our first pull, I was still kind of like learning as we went. So just ran out here, waiting for a dispel. Got the spell, then you just run back into the group. And so here, I think it's probably better to lust on Skyjo when the boss comes down. Just because this phase lasts like a lot longer. So maybe that might work better for your group, but I think it's probably better to use it here. So basically in this phase, all of her 9, so her other mini bosses, they'll be doing a bunch of mechanics as you're like trying to kill her. So when she's in that big AoE bubble, she takes reduced damage, so definitely want to have your tanks move her out of that. And so whenever she does Ward of Recall like this, she kind of does multiple mechanics at once. So you can see there are purple circles on the ground to soak, but the tank is also moving her out of this big bubble because she's also not taking any damage. And I think some debuffs went out at the same time also, which they did. And we just had someone die from them. So the Ward of Recalls is pretty much the only thing that's going to kill you in this fight. Basically she'll do like multiple mechanics at once. So just save your personals and health stones and stuff for that. So not too much to talk about here, just waiting. I'm pulling my shards and my conflag charges for my Infernal that's coming up soon. I am playing Dreamweaver as Destruction just because I think the haste value from Field of Blossoms is like really strong and you can get a lot of good value out of it on a lot of fights since there's a lot of downtime where you can stand still and kind of just spam Chaos Bolt like I'm doing now. So like there I got pretty much full value out of my Field of Blossoms. I think it was like 1 or 2 seconds where I had to move, but yeah, it has a pretty strong uptime on a lot of these fights. Here we're just burning the boss. So here's another Ward of Recall, so there's going to be a bunch of mechanics at once. This time it was Soak with Meteors. So that one was a pretty easy one to deal with. And then we also got some debuffs. So these people are just going to go off to the sides, and they're going to drop the ice pools. And so I will not get another Inferno. You may, depending on your group's DPS and your group size and stuff, but so here, when my Dark Soul comes up in 50-ish seconds, I'm going to be popping that, since the boss will be about 10% or so. So if you do not lust in the first phase, you may get another Infernal. So you may get 3 Infernals on this fight, potentially, depending on how fast you kill the first 2 ads. Here, they're just small AoE bombs, so you just have to move out for them and spread with them. And we got a Soak there too. It might be best to try and like suicide or have someone in vulnerability on those Soaks when the War Recall happens, because it just happened again. And you can see we have Soaks, Dispels, and small bombs. So the person with the meteor is actually running out and just taking a hit for us, just suiciding so we don't die. So sometimes sacking the person or having them immune with like a ice block or something is best. So here I just pop my cooldowns since the boss is 10% or so. And we're just burning it from here. That's pretty much no more mechanics. So yeah, this fight was pretty straightforward. The only thing that really kills you is the Warrior Recalls. So just make sure that you're handling mechanics during that time and not really focusing on damage, because there is a lot of times where you can just sit there and DPS. So yeah, depending on when you lust, you can swap between the Havoc Conduit and Infernal Brennan, whichever you prefer. But both are good and whatever your group needs, and depends on when you lust and stuff. Hopefully this is helpful. I'll be doing some more guides on the heroic bosses as I go through them, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.